Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going on a really exciting journey. We're going to look at exactly what it takes to transform a standard, completely unused patch of your backyard into a fully permitted 60 square meter granny flat right here in Victoria, Australia. Whether you're looking to create a cozy space for aging parents, a separate retreat for teenagers, or a dedicated home office, understanding how to actually get this built legally is the absolute essential first step. I mean, it's a fantastic way to add both value and utility to your property, but, it requires a very specific roadmap. I hear this all the time. You've got this brilliant vision, you know exactly what you want the space to look like, but then, boom, you hit a wall. You're completely ready to build, but you find yourself just overwhelmed by the regulatory red tape, the strict council requirements, and the seemingly endless list of consultants you need to hire. Honestly, it can feel like a giant maze that's specifically designed to keep you from ever breaking ground. Okay, let's dive into this because I'm going to show you that this maze actually has a very logical, highly predictable path. To make this rigid 9-step regulatory process totally manageable, we're breaking the whole thing down into 4 really clear phases. Phase 1 is the groundwork. Phase 2 is the design cycle. Phase 3 is the technical crunch. And Phase 4 is the final green light. All right, let's kick things off with Phase 1 groundwork. This is where we establish the foundation through steps 1 and 2. Step 1 is the site survey. Obviously, you can't design a building if you don't know exactly what you're building on, right? So, a licensed land surveyor is brought in to undertake a feature and level survey of your property. They're going to map out your exact property boundaries, note any existing structures, figure out the levels and contours of the land, and plot out trees, easements, and even neighborhood features. This essentially transforms your unknown patch of dirt into a clearly defined canvas. Next is step 2, preliminary site assessments, and these are evaluated strictly on a case-by-case basis depending on your specific lot. So what might these assessments actually entail? Well, you could need an arborist report if you've got protected or significant trees on your lot, or you might require environmental assessments for things like bushfires or floods, or maybe asset investigations to protect existing underground easements. But what's really interesting here is the soil test or geotechnical investigation. I know, it sounds incredibly dry, but it literally dictates the physical foundation of your new asset. The exact type of dirt in your backyard determines exactly how deep your footings have to go, which directly impacts your overall construction costs. Moving right along into Phase 2, the design cycle. This takes us from initial concept to final drawings through steps 3, 4, and 5. Now, this phase is a highly collaborative feedback loop. It kicks off with step 3, the concept design. Using that site survey we just talked about, preliminary architectural drawings are whipped up. This is where you first get to see your site plan, your floor plan outlining the internal layout, your elevation showing the external appearance, and those preliminary dimensions. Then we hit step 4, client review and design revisions. You sit down, review these draft plans, and give your feedback. Do those room sizes actually work for you? Is the facade exactly what you pictured in your head? Your requested changes are incorporated, basically merging your creative vision with strict regulatory compliance until the overall design is completely 100% approved by you. Once you give that thumbs up, we move to step 5, which is producing the final construction drawings. Step 5 is where those fun concept drawings graduate into serious blueprints. We aren't just talking about a back of a napkin sketch anymore. We are talking about highly dimensioned floor plans, detailed sections, and super specific construction details. You have to include comprehensive window and door schedules. Plus, this is where crucial data regarding energy efficiency requirements and structural information are officially baked into the actual drawings. These are the comprehensive documents that will be submitted for your permit. Next up, Phase 3, the technical crunch. This covers compliance and surveying in steps 6 and 7. Step 6 is engineering documentation. A structural engineer takes your finalized architectural drawings and prepares the vital structural design and computations. They calculate the footing and slab design, they figure out the structural framing to ensure the building actually stands up to the elements, and they detail the specific beams and lintels required. Basically, they do the really complex math so your granny flat is completely safe. Once the engineer finishes those computations, all of these documents, both architectural and engineering, are handed over in step 7, which is the building surveyor appointment. You absolutely must appoint a registered building surveyor because they are the independent authority who will formally assess all your documentation. And what exactly is that building surveyor checking your documents against? Well, they use 2 incredibly strict regulatory frameworks, the National Construction Code, or NCC, and the Victorian Building Regulations. The surveyor independently reviews every single architectural drawing, engineering computation, and energy report, just to ensure absolute compliance.
And let me tell you, they are strict. It's very common during this stage for the surveyor to issue what's called RFIs, requests for further information. If anything is even slightly out of compliance, they will ask for adjustments before they even think about granting their approval. We are almost at the finish line. Phase 4, the final green light. This is all about choosing a builder and getting that permit in steps 8 and 9.
Step 8 requires you to determine your exact construction method. So the crucial point is really understanding the difference between your two options here. Option A is engaging a registered domestic builder. If you go this route, the builder is appointed, they provide all the required insurance, and the building permit is issued entirely in the builder's name. They take on the risk. Option B, on the other hand, is becoming an owner-builder yourself. If you choose this, you have to obtain an owner-builder certificate of consent from the Victorian Building Authority, the VBA. The permit is issued in your name, but more importantly, you, the owner, assume full statutory obligations and management responsibility for the entire build. It's a massive shift in responsibility, and you really have to know exactly what you're signing up for if you choose option B. And finally, we've made it to step 9, the absolute culmination of all your hard work. Once all that documentation is verified and your builder choice is locked in, the surveyor officially issues the building permit. The project is signed off, and construction on your brand new granny flat can officially begin. So, how long does this whole thing usually take? Well, this timeline brilliantly illustrates the journey. Weeks 1 and 2 are dedicated to the site survey and preliminary reports. Weeks 3 and 4 encompass the draft design and your client review. And remember, that timeline depends heavily on how quickly you provide your feedback. Weeks 5 through 7 are all about finalizing those drawings and the engineering. And finally, weeks 8 to 10 are reserved for the surveyor's assessment and the permit issue. So you're looking at a typical total timeframe of about 6 to 10 weeks, depending on council requirements and how complex your specific project is. You now understand the rigorous 9-step process, and you've seen the realistic 10-week timeline. That bureaucratic red tape isn't really a mystery anymore, is it? It's simply a checklist that you now know exactly how to conquer. The pathway is clear. So, what is the vision for your 60 square meter space? Stop dreaming, start planning, and kickstart your project today. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and happy building!